So, good morning, everyone. My name is Arafat, and I teach history on the textbook platform. Am I audible? Am I audible? Morning, everyone. Sorry. Once again, my name is Arafat, and I teach history on the textbook platform. So, in this session, let us spend some time discussing on a very important topic of modern history: is the Bengal Mo- Young Bengal movement. So the Young Bengal movement happened to be very important socio reform movement. Yeah, movement. Repeat. Young Bengal movement happened to be very important socio yes movement of yeah movement was started. This movement was started by Anglo-Indian teacher by name Henry Vivian Derozio. Repeat. This movement is a very important socio religious movement. Movement was started by Henry. Basically, this movement was started by a, an Anglo-Indian teacher by name Henry Vivian Derozio. So this movement was very active in 18 late 8, between 1820s to late 1830s. Mostly was active and more so in Calcutta. Movement was very actively carried out. So I told you that this movement was started by Henry Vivian Derozio. So this movement point is Henry Vivian Derozio was a by profession. Started working as a lecturer Hindu College, Calcutta. Importantly, he started working as a lecturer just 17. Just when he turned 17, he joined as a lecturer in college uh, in Hindu College at Calcutta. So Derozio, as he began to be called by his students, is he was fondly called as so uh, he became immensely popular among his students in a short span of time. The reason for his popularity was his progressive revolutionary ideas. Point is was he was he played a very important role in popularizing progressive and revolutionary ideas. Therefore, he began to become very popular. So, in a way, Henry Vivian Derozio was a product of a French Revolution. So, you all might be knowing about the French Revolution. The slogans are the ideals with which the French Revolution began was liberty, equality, happens to be three ideals with which the revolution began. So, Vivian Derozio is said to have got inspired by these ideals of the French. So he was greatly inspired by the ideals, that is liberty. He propagated the same ideals among his students as repeat started working as a lecturer to college located in Calcutta. He started his teaching was just and he was literally very he was immensely popular with his students. Was very popular with his so the reason for his popularity was the progressive revolutionary ideas which promoted. So take a look at the role played by Derozio at Hindu College. I just told you he inspired the student, inspired his students with progressive thinking. Point. Basically turned the classrooms to debating house. Basically, Derozio turned classrooms into the debating spaces. He converted his classrooms as a platform for debate, or converted his classroom as a platform for debate on various socio-political issues. Basically, turned his classrooms into platforms for debate on various socio-political. Basically, Derozio, the two cornerstones of Derozio's teachings, one is and is so basically Derozio gave a call to his to think freely, rationally. So these two became the two cornerstones of Derozio. Basically encouraged. Derozio encouraged his to question all established authority, including the religious texts. Basically, Derozio encouraged his students to question all authority, all established authority, including the religious texts. He encouraged his students to accept. Uh, he encouraged the students to accept things only when they are explained through reason. So basically, he encouraged the students to question all authority, including the religious text, accept nothing unless and until it was explained through reason. So basically, the cornerstone of his personality, he encouraged the students to inculcate a sense of reason at a point. He gave a call to the student he gave a call to the student to literally worship liberty uh, and equality. Let me repeat this point once again. He gave a call to the students to love liberty, equality, and worship truth. He gave a call to the students to love liberty, equality, and worship. Let me repeat this point once again. Derozio was a rationalist to the core. He was greatly inspired by ideals of the French Revolution, liberty, equality, and fraternity. He tried his best to inculcate the same ideals among his. He gave a call to the student to inculcate a sense of rationality. He gave a call to the student to develop a free. He gave a call to the student to question all established customs, to accept nothing unless and until they were explained to them. Basically gave a call to his students to accept things only are explained to them. So this was another very important made by Derozio. So the point is the role played as a lecturer in Hindu college is unparalleled. Played a very important role in promoting. Uh, he played a very important role uh, in inculcating an inquiry among his students. That is the role which Henry Vivian Derozio. So, what was the impact on this? Point is, Derozio was quite young, still kind of impact created on the minds of undoubtedly unparalleled. Derozio himself was quite young, still the kind of impact he did in creating on the minds of the students unparalleled. So the students point is the kind of impact. The point is under the impact of the teaching of Henry Derozio, the students began attacking all customs, particularly the blind customs. Let me repeat this point. Kind of impact which Derozio had created among students undoubtedly unparalleled. So under the influence of Derozio, his students began attacking all blind customs, they in fact began to measure everything to the yardstick of reason. Students began to measure everything to the yardstick. Say, for example, one of students of Derozio was one Mr. Ram Gopal Ghosh, who once declared. Point is, Ram Gopal Ghosh is so on one occasion, Ram Gopal Ghosh declared thus. Take a look at the statement which is attributed to Ram Gopal Ghosh, who happened to be the son of Derozio. He who will not reason is he who will not reason is he who cannot is not is a fool. He who does not is he who cannot is a does not is a. So this statement itself indicates to the kind of response so that's about the impact which Derozio had succeeded in creating among his students. Second, Derozio was also a champion of women's rights. Derozio was also a champion of women's rights. So basically, Derozio believed that women's position could be improved by imparting education to them. Basically, Derozio believed that women's position could be improved by imparting education to them. So therefore, demanded establishment of more educational institutions. Therefore, he demanded establishment of educational institutions. Believed that through education, women's position basically believed that the best way to empower women was by promoting education among. Therefore, he started demanding education for women. So basically, Derozio also worked to he also did his best to uplift the. So he was in a way champion of women. This is another dimension of Derozio. Derozio was in fact the first national poet of modern India. Undoubtedly, Derozio was a nationalist poet. He is undoubtedly the first nationalist poet of modern India because he wrote a poem titled "To India, My Native." The poem which he wrote. He wrote a poem titled "To India, My Native Land." In this poem, he basically talked about the past glory of India. Basically, he talked about the past glory of India, talked about how India was a very prosperous region during the ancient and the medieval times. But in the same poem, he argued that India was once a very prosperous region during the ancient and medieval times, got reduced to the status of a slave during the British times. Basically, he wrote a poem titled "To India, My Native Land." In the same poem, he spoke about how India once was. He talked very passionately about the past glory of India. At a point, he talked about the kind of wealth that was available in India during the medieval times. But he argued that India, which was once very prosperous region, was reduced to the status of slave nation during the British times. Basically, through his poem, to this poem, he squarely held the British and its policies responsible for the poverty of India. So basically, his poems, Derozio tried to instill patriotism, nationalism among the Indians. Point is, he wrote poems. Through his poems, he tried to instill patriotism. Was another important contribution made by Derozio. Derozio was a nationalist. Derozio was undoubtedly, he was in fact the first nationalist of modern. Then the point is, Derozio became very, very popular with his students. He was undoubtedly the most popular lecturer working in the Hindu college at the point of time. So the point is, because of his radical views, the British began to put pressure. The point is, Derozio was spreading radical views among his students, and therefore the British put pressure on the college authorities, and under the pressure of the British, college authorities dismissed Derozio from his job in Iran. The point is, Derozio, he was basically promoting radical ideology his students. Therefore, the British brought pressure on the college authorities, and under pressure from the British, the college authorities Derozio from his job in 18. But unfortunately, in the same year, that is in 18 itself, Derozio died due to cholera. Died due to cholera. So at the time of his death, he was just merely 2 years. So this great individual died just 20. That's the end of death. That's the end of the role played. But even after the death of Derozio, the legacy of Derozio was continued by his students. Point is, the students of Derozio, the followers of Derozio, began to be popularly called as the Christians. The followers of Derozio began to be popularly called the Derozians. So these Derozians played a very important role in carrying forward the legacy of Henry. So basically, in 1838, that is 7 years after the death of Henry Louis Derozio, so the students of Derozio started a society called Society for Acquisition of General. Repeat. After the death of Derozio, the student of Derozio tried their best to carry forward legacy of their teacher. In this regard, they established a society called the Society for Acquisition of General. Society for the Acquisition. This society was founded in the year 18. So take a look at some important work carried out by this Society for Acquisition. Basically, conducted debates and on all important issues. Basically, this society conducted debates and on important social issues of the. It conducted debates and on important social issues. So, for example, it conducted debates on caste system, child marriages, ban on widow remarriage. Back in those days, widow remarriages were banned, child marriages were the norm, caste system was very rigid at a point. So it also held debates on Kulin polygamy. Kulin, basically a community among Brahmins, sect of the Brahmins are known as Kulin Brahmins. So among the Kulin Brahmins, polygamy was a common practice. Polygamy, that is a practice of having many wives. So among the Kulin Brahmins, polygamy was a common practice. So the society even conducted debates on Kulin polygamy. So the whole point which I'm trying to convey, this society carried forward the legacy of Henry Vivian Derozio, began conducting debates and all important burning. That is, it conducted debates on caste system, then how one should go about abolishing the caste system. On all these issues, debates began. Then the society was also involved in carrying out few agitations as well. That is society, that is the Society for Acquisition of Knowledge, is also involved in carrying out uh, agitations on certain aspects. So for example, it carried out agitations in favor of freedom of press, because back in those days there were numerous restrictions on the press. So the society carried agitations in uh, in favor of press freedom. This society also carried agitation for the Indianization of services. So back in those days, the Indians were not allowed to sit for the ICS exam. Indians were not allowed to sit for the ICS exam, that is Indian exam. So therefore, society even carried a protest demanding Indianization of. It also carried a protest. It also carried agitations uh, 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 in favor of the peasants who were being exploited by the zamindars, that is landlord. So they carried agitations uh, for protection of peasants from the exploitation of zamindar. So basically, they even took up the cause of they tried their best to secure the rights of the peasants. They tried to secure the peasants from exploitation of zamindar. That's our basic land landlord. So the whole point which I'm trying to convey is, even after the death of Henry Vivian Derozio, students of Derozio tried their best to carry forward their teacher's legacy. That's about another very important of this movement, that is, yeah, repeat, movement started by Henry Vivian Derozio became popularly known as basically the socio-religious reform of Bengal. But this movement also suffered from one major shortcoming. This movement, the Young Bengal Movement, suffered from one major shortcoming. That is, it failed to establish connection. So this is the basic shortcoming of this movement. So there was a complete disconnect. So that this society, the Bengal movement, for that matter, the Society for the Acquisition of General Knowledge, uh, confined its activities merely to intellectual circles. Society, that is the Society Derozians, that is the mostly confined its activity to intellectual circles, books. It confined its activity to merely conducting debates and discussions on important issues. But the point is, the society failed to take these ideas. Society failed to take their ideas masses. They mostly confined their activity to uh, conducting debates and they failed to take their ideas to the. Therefore, they failed to establish a connection with the broader population. Is as a result, they failed to establish their connection with the broader population, and as a result, the Young Bengal movement was it miserably failed mobilizing the masses towards the point is as a result. Let me repeat this point once again. Point is the Derosians by and large confined their activities to check one. Is my voice not audible? My voice not audible? So that's about the shortcoming of the Young Bengal. The whole point is the Derozio, by and large, confined their activities to merely conducting debates and discussions. They failed to take their ideas to the masses. Hence, they failed to establish a they failed to establish a connection with the broader population, and hence they failed to mobilize the masses into the movement. They failed to mobilize the masses that is their it's that was their basic shock. They failed to, in fact, draw the masses. They failed to secure support of the masses because they could not uh, take, since they did not take their ideas to the. So their appeal, or the appeal of the Young Bengal movement among the masses, was very limited. Therefore, they could not secure support of the masses. That is there. So these are the different aspects of the young. Very, very important. Many times have come from the topic both in films as well. Therefore this topic is very, very. That's all for today. In case you have any doubts, you may raise a question. Otherwise, we will end up in the next. Any doubts, anyone? Any doubts, anyone? So that's all for today. See you in the next class.